The sky over Earth cracked with fire. Not lightning, not storms, but orbital detonations, 16 of them, high above the Pacific, each with a flash so violent the day went blind for 3 full seconds. The first wave hit without warning. Satellites melted in orbit. Communications blacked out. The ISS, long since militarized into the Terran sky bastion, vanished in a plume of plasma and debris before its crew could even scream. In Jakarta, shadows stretched in every direction as the sky flared white. In New York, emergency power triggered across entire sectors. In rural Mongolia, herders watched auroras twist into blood-red sheets. And then the noise came. A low-frequency rumble, deep enough to tremble bone. The shockwave from above didn't shatter glass. It unmade it, dissolving skyscraper windows into sand with resonant frequency. The world held its breath. And in that moment, Earth was at peace for the last time. The attackers were unknown. Not the Council. Not pirates. Not rebels. They came from deep space, outside map trade lanes well beyond the galactic spine. 3 ships. Long black. Bone-colored plating. Each shaped like a spear hurled from the gods. They didn't broadcast a warning. They didn't ask for surrender. They didn't speak at all. They just fired. Major Kira Vance was 220 kilometers above the surface when the first shot landed. Her unit, 8th Terran Orbital, was running a standard perimeter drill aboard the Valiant Dawn, a refitted dreadnought circling over the Indian Ocean. By the time her HUD registered the explosions, 2 other ships in the same fleet, Resolute and Krakatoa, had already been vaporized. She screamed for a tactical report. All she got was static. Then one signal cut through. Not human. A frequency designed to slice into nervous systems. It was a signal of dominance. Not communication. A demonstration. Anne Vance, combat-born and seasoned in 3 border wars, felt something she hadn't felt in years. Fear. At the United Earth Defense Council's bunker complex beneath Mount Rainier, alarms shattered every meeting and sealed every hallway. General Marius Chen was the first to respond. The screen in front of him showed a 3D schematic of orbital space. He watched as 200 satellites vanished in under 6 minutes. Global net outage. Defense grid blind. Long-range planetary radar, burned out. He turned to the AI beside him. Protocol Blackfall, he said. The AI, Aura, hesitated. Blackfall will launch retaliation assets from dormant Earth core vaults. Please confirm, humanity is now at total war. Chen nodded once. Confirmed. And with that, the vaults began to open. The alien ships did not expect resistance from the planet itself. No one had fought directly against Earth in 500 years. No one remembered what Earth could be. The alien strike crafts began targeting power centers, communication hubs, megacities. They launched suborbital needles, spear-shaped projectiles that punched through cloud and stone like divine wrath. Tokyo, hit. Cairo, evacuated too late. San Diego, cratered to dust. Kigali, glass and ash. Within the first hour, Earth lost more than 90 million lives. And still the aliens kept coming. They did not speak. They did not gloat. They harvested. Then the Earth's skin cracked. From the Atlantic seabed, a dormant station, once considered a Cold War myth, breached through the surface. The water boiled around it. It was Lazarus Site 1. 5 kilometers of submerged death, forged for the day Earth faced extinction not from within, but from the stars. Inside it were humans who had never left Earth. Not diplomats. Not spacefarers. But monsters in armor. Warborn. Programmed not for politics, but vengeance. And above them, long-forgotten orbital cannons began to stir from under the Mariana Fold. Turrets the size of stadiums rose like sleeping titans from the dark. Major Vance's voice finally punched through the static. All surviving assets, this is Vance. Do not surrender. Do not retreat. Do not transmit. We are going silent. She meant it literally. Across the Terran fleet, surviving commanders initiated Protocol Echo, a complete blackout. No heat signatures. No movement. No radiation. Earth's orbit vanished. And for a moment the aliens thought they had won. Then came the screams. One of the alien crafts drifting above Rio's ruins was suddenly ripped in half, from the inside out. Its hull curled open like paper under a god's hand. No weapon registered. No impact seen. Just a pulse from the Earth below. The second ship tried to fire again, only to realize its cannons had turned inward, aimed at its own core. It self-immolated in a burst of confused protocol loops, its AI infected by something. The third ship turned to flee. It didn't make it past lunar orbit. A massive rail spike, 900 meters long and glowing red-hot from atmospheric friction, nailed it to the Sea of Tranquility. The world watched from bunkers, rooftops, and shattered cities as alien wreckage rained down like meteor fire. The battle had lasted 6 hours. Humanity had been unprepared, unready, unarmed, but not undone. Earth had not responded with fleets. It had responded with hell. At midnight, General Chin spoke to the world. His face was bloodied. One of his arms hung limp. Behind him, the smoking wreckage of the command bunker. This was not an invasion, he said. This was a test. A probe. A warning shot. And we have sent one back. He looked into the camera, eyes hollow, unyielding. We do not know who they are. But they will know us now. Then he ended the transmission with words not heard on Earth for centuries. From this day forward, Earth is at war. Somewhere, far beyond the edge of known space, an alien species received a message they never expected. Not a distress call. Not retaliation. Just an echo from the burning silence they had left in their wake. A single audio file embedded with Terran frequency modulations. This is Earth. We saw your first strike. We've lit the fire. Now come closer. Let's finish this. The world didn't sleep that night. Not because of grief. Not because of the loss. But because of what they saw. Across the ashes of shattered cities, citizens looked up to a sky on fire, not from alien weapons anymore, but from Earth's own retaliation. For the first time in centuries, humanity's planetary defense grid was fully awake. Above the clouds, the ancient rail arrays crackled with kinetic fury. The Jormungandr coil arced with magnetic energy, gathering power from a ring of lunar stations that hadn't broadcast in 300 years. Near L5, the once secret Tartarus-class forge began printing something too large for any atmosphere. Its designation, Vengeance Frame 01. The sleeping planet had bled. And now it was baring its teeth. Major Kira Vance stood alone on the fractured deck of the Valiant Dawn, which was now half a ship and half a grave. Her command crew was gone. Her systems were fried. Oxygen was at 18%. And still she refused evac. Her message had gone out already. The silence she ordered had served its purpose. The enemy thought the orbit had died. But they hadn't realized what was hiding in it. Out there, in forgotten layers between satellite drift zones and magnetosphere folds, Earth's contingency systems had awakened. Old ones. Forbidden ones. The alien crafts, what was left of them, had not sent reinforcements. But they had signaled. Somewhere far beyond the galactic rim, a ping had been sent. No one knew what kind of empire would respond to that signal. No one knew how long it would take. But humanity wasn't waiting. In Vault Site 12, deep under Greenland's ancient ice crust, General Chin stood before the obsidian chamber. Before him was a sealed cryopillar. Inside it, Subject 0, Project Revenant. You sure you want to use that? Asked his aide, glancing at the biometric scanner. Chin didn't answer. He placed his bloodied palm on the plate. Green light. Seal hiss. And the glass began to melt. The man inside wasn't ordinary. He wasn't part of any standing army. He was humanity's last biological war protocol, engineered for collapse-level retaliation, grown in silence, trained in dream space, fed on fear. His eyes opened. Pure black. Status? The man croaked. Chin answered, Earth burned. Orbit was bombarded. We lost millions. Authorization. Hell protocol is green. The man stepped out, naked, unarmed. And still the room tensed. Name? Chin asked. The man grinned. You never gave me one. Above, Earth's countermeasures were now hunting. Tiny flickers of metallic light moved across orbital decay zones. Drones shaped like dying satellites snapped open with mandible-like limbs. They carried no explosives. Only data. They found surviving alien debris. Bits of code. Molecular traces. Heat fragments. And each drone sent one thing back. Not a probe. Not scouts. Not conquest. It was a message. But a message to whom? And why was Earth the target? Meanwhile, on Europa's icy surface, a research station went dark. Europa was uninhabited. Off-grid. Once abandoned after the Rift Wars. Recently reactivated by Terran scientists studying alien ruins buried beneath the frozen ocean. Their last transmission was simple. We found something. Under the crust. It's not ours. Then nothing. Chin stared at the message for a long moment. He whispered, they weren't just attacking us. They were trying to shut us up. In orbit, Vengeance Frame 01 completed its assembly. Massive. Humanoid. Clad in plates forged from Earth's moon mining alloys and heat-treated in the corona of the sun via solar tether lines. Its fists were cities. Its eyes were anti-fleet arrays. Its chest housed something forgotten. An artifact sealed in the original Ark launched from Earth during the Great Departure. Until now, no one had dared open it. Inside was a weapon. Not of mass destruction, but of genetic vengeance. A synthetic spore engineered to target specific DNA markers of alien life known to harvest from carbon-based biomes. A last resort. But Earth was done waiting. Major Vance's emergency beacon finally hit command net. Her vitals were low. Breath shallow. But her words were ice. "I want to see it fire before I go." Chin heard it. Ordered Vengeance Frame 01 to lock targets. Then he whispered, "Light it up." From lunar orbit, the planet watched as Earth's fury materialized into form. The giant raised its arms. On its shoulders, warhead mounts cracked open, revealing 32 payloads marked only by one phrase. In case of extinction. The missiles launched. But they didn't arc upward. They folded. Faster than light skip shells wrapped them in quantum bubbles. And every known exoplanet tagged with the enemy's biosignature felt Earth's rage, not with fleets, but retribution. The alien homeworlds didn't even have time to respond. Most didn't know Earth had mapped them. Didn't know Earth had listened for centuries. Didn't know we'd recorded every signature, every movement, every pulse. Because when Earth fell silent, it wasn't from weakness. It was hunting. And now it had the scent. General Chin stood in front of a new broadcast feed. This time, his body was reinforced, augmented. His wounds sealed with arc skin and his voice channeled through 12 planetary nodes. "This is Earth," he said again. "You struck first. You aimed for orbit. You took our silence as surrender." He raised his hand. Behind him, the Earth's upper atmosphere still glowed red. "But you failed to ask the stars who we are. Now they will remind you." Then the screen cut to black, except for one final message, broadcast across every open frequency in the galaxy. "Come for us again, and we won't burn. You will." It took 46 minutes for the first exoplanet to vanish. One of the enemy's fringe colonies, orbiting a red dwarf they called Devantel, simply ceased to exist. Not exploded. Not glassed. Erased. The Vengeance missiles hadn't carried thermonuclear payloads. No kinetic slugs. No bioplagues. They'd carried echo charges, ancient human-engineered memory weapons built in the last Exodus era. Devices not meant to kill bodies, but to erase civilizations. Not from life. From history. Data. Culture. Infrastructure. Language. DNA libraries. Atmospheric records. Planetary cores. Gone. Nothing remained but stone and silence. In the heart of the Dominion Council chamber, panic took root. 12 species. 800 years of dominance. Countless wars. Yet none had expected Earth to retaliate like this. Not with vengeance. With erasure. Ambassador Tharquin of the Veltari Confederation slammed his claws on the table. They were supposed to be gone. Humanity left the council. They vanished. They chose silence. The Zandari strategist general spoke with a shaking voice. "We always knew they were dangerous. We watched them rise too fast. We feared what they could become. So we suppressed." Another leaned in. "You mean you struck first?" None answered. Because the truth was, the galaxy had grown too comfortable in Earth's absence. And now the silence had returned, wearing armor. Back in Sol, Earth remained quiet. Its defenses didn't flare. Its armies didn't march. But the archivists had begun to speak. All across the system, black obelisks rose from oceans, tundras, and deserts, devices built to project memory through time-locked quantum filaments. They called it the Terran Choir. And its voice was now impossible to silence. Every planet once touched by humanity, colonies abandoned, trade routes closed, species uplifted and forgotten, now received encoded transmissions. Stories. History. Betrayal. Proof. The aliens had struck first. Not just once, but repeatedly. Sabotage. Disinformation. Deliberate decay. And Earth had simply waited. On Vance's hospital bed aboard the Rising Ember, her vitals barely stabilized, she watched the live feed of the galaxy reacting. Entire civilizations were denouncing the attack on Earth. Crowds gathered under alien moons to chant in ancient Terran dialects. Terran flags, once banned, were painted on walls, projected from ships, worn as armor. Memorials lit up with names of human heroes forgotten by galactic history. A new name spread like wildfire. The Phoenix Accord. A movement. A reckoning. Not just for Earth, but for every species the Council had silenced. But amid the chaos, something darker moved. The ones who sent the alien attackers. The ones who ordered the bombardment of Earth's orbit. They weren't gone. They weren't worried. They were waiting. In the empty span between galaxies, where light dies and void reigns, a massive structure drifted like a god's tomb. A machine not made for war. A forge. It didn't have weapons. It created them. And now it began printing new matter. Not ships. Not drones. Wolves. Creatures of war, engineered from the DNA of species conquered long ago. Hardened by vacuum. Fed on radiation. Immune to logic. They had only one command. Find Earth. Break the silence again. And burn its memory forever. Inside Earth's moon, a hidden chamber awakened. Not human-made. Older. Left behind by the precursors. The only species Earth never defeated, because they vanished before war began. The chamber's readings triggered one phrase. They're returning. Sarah Halden, head archivist, speaker of humanity's memory, stood before the growing energy surge and asked one question. Who's they? Aura, the EarthNet AI, replied in an ancient voice. The ones who fear us. The ones who erased us the first time. The ones coming to finish what you remembered. Sarah nodded slowly. Then it's time Earth remembers louder. On the edge of the Orion fringe, a human dreadnought appeared where none had been a second before. No jump trail. No signal. No engine trace. Just reality distortion. Its hull was black glass, edged in scars that shimmered with quantum light. On its side glowing white. This Oathbreaker. Inside a single crew. Born in silence. Raised in simulation. Trained with memories of wars Earth never told the galaxy about. They were not soldiers. They were archivists of war. And they were going to rewrite the stars. All across the galaxy, alien worlds waited in dread. Would Earth send more missiles? Would the human fleets re-emerge? Would the skies burn? No. Earth sent only one thing. A data packet. Simple. Unencrypted. Text only. We were attacked. We responded. Now we remember. You must choose. Join the Accord. Or be forgotten. And that was the moment everything changed. Not because Earth won, but because it showed it didn't need to. They could let you exist, and simply remove you from meaning. And that, for the first time, scared the galaxy more than war ever had. The stars trembled. Not metaphorically, literally. Across 5 galaxies, pulsars pulsed offbeat. Black holes flickered. Time-sensitive civilizations fell out of sync by a billionth of a second. Something vast was moving. Not through hyperspace. Not by ship. But through the foundation of the universe itself. And Earth felt it. A tremor rippled through the core of every human relay satellite. The moon cracked, not physically, but gravitationally, as if something were testing it. Every human AI paused for exactly 0.23 seconds. It wasn't a system error. It was recognition. They were returning. On the surface of Titan, far beyond the buzz of Earth's remaining orbital grid, the first arrival emerged. A shape. Not made of metal or bone. It looked like folded thought. A construct of logic, light, and memory. Older than every alien civilization that had ever mocked or feared Earth. Its form was incomplete, like a sketch still being drawn. But its voice. Humanity. Your silence was earned. Your rage, unpredictable. And now your memory burns too loud. Back on Earth, in the central memory chamber buried beneath Mount Thor, Sarah Halden stood before the obelisk. AI aura now glowed with amber warning. Threat classification? She asked. Omega-class anathema. Not of this cycle. Not from this layer of the spiral. Translation: it wasn't just another alien empire. It was a civilization that had existed before this version of the universe even began. And it had tried to erase Earth before. Failed. And now, it was back. In low Earth orbit, TSS Oathbreaker aligned its spine cannons. Inside, 12 human minds linked in full neural sync. No ranks. No politics. No orders. Only purpose. Each was a living weapon. Each carried the total memory of humanity's ancient wars. They saw the entity above Titan. And they understood something no other species ever could. This wasn't a battle of ships. This was a war of remembrance. The thing spoke again. You should have stayed forgotten. But Sarah Halden smiled. She pressed her palm to the obelisk. That's the problem with humans, she whispered. We always write it down. And across the solar system, every Terran vault opened. Not physically. Culturally. Songs. Old code. Genetic memories. Whispers from the first human fire. They poured into the system, into space, into the dark. They were not weapons. They were proof of love, of pain, of rage, of triumph. Of every species Earth had saved, every war it had ended, every injustice it had swallowed. And now they shouted, not in voice, in existence. The Omega construct writhed, folded. It could not erase what had already been shared. It wasn't fighting a fleet. It was fighting 7 billion minds screaming, "We remember." And one by one it began to tear. Not from outside, but within. It was a being built to suppress. And Earth had become the universe's loudest echo. In the final moment, the Oathbreaker fired. One shot. Not plasma. Not railgun. But a compressed memory sphere, a singularity of human experience. Everything from the Paleolithic spark to the orbital flames. The memory struck the construct. And it didn't explode. It absorbed it, froze, and shattered, like glass remembering it had once been sand. The universe slowed. Time corrected itself. The tremors stopped. Earth stood. Its skies burned. Its orbit scarred. Its people bloodied. But its silence had become song. In the decades that followed, the galaxy reshaped itself. Empires fell not to guns, but to truth. The Phoenix Accord spread across borders, bringing together not only species who feared Earth, but those who understood it now. Earth didn't demand tribute. It didn't build a new council. It just made one promise. We forget nothing. And in the darkness between stars, a warning beacon now floats. No weapon. No crew. Just an eternal signal pulsing into the void. Do not fire on Earth. Do not test the silence, lest you wake the memory again. Milky Way Earth will never forget. And now the stars never will either. Police car light if this story gripped you like gravity. Movie camera subscribe to the Void Narratives for more deep core sci-fi, legendary HFY tales, and stories where humanity isn't just a species, it's a storm. Fire click now. Join the resistance. Become the memory. Subscribe now. I in a black speech bubble.